then build a strong portfolio. So everybody should have his or her own portfolio. Then apply for data analysis jobs. Start freelance opportunities. If you don't want to go and work in a company, for instance, let me show you something. If you don't want to go and work in a company, there are jobs that you can apply on. Just that some of us get discouraged. You get discouraged when applying for jobs. So look at this. I know some of us have heard about Upwork. There are still jobs in Upwork that I've used Upwork for some period of time before I stopped using it. So there are jobs in Upwork that require only maybe Excel, just Excel. Be asked to just use Excel to do the job. It does not require you to use all the tools. You just require only Excel. So I'll show us. So it's not just about learning all the tools. So you can see, these are jobs. This is posted 30 minutes ago. Why people don't use Upwork is that Upwork requires you to have connections. You understand? It requires you to have connections to apply for jobs. So you can see, these are some jobs. This is 56 minutes ago. This is data cleaning and Jackson transformation. This is using JavaScript, data cleaning. But here you have to use JavaScript. So in this place, you have to use JavaScript file to clean data. This is Excel financial management dashboard. So this person need a personal Excel spreadsheet for financial management. You need a dashboard that include assets, liability, so and so on. So if you can do this, you apply. Then you can see there are a lot of data analysis jobs. This data analysis, this Excel and Power BI. But for this platform, this is Upwork. For this Upwork, you have to have connection. That is where most of us, people don't like applying there, but there are jobs there. If you're ready to spend, let's say you spend you buy points. This is points. Let's say you buy points. Let's say you buy connects. Let's say you buy connect of $10. I mean 10 points. 10 points is 1 point, $50. So let's say you buy 200 points, which is $30. Let's say you buy 200 points, which is $30. So these 200 points to apply for different jobs. Use points to apply for different jobs. And keep in mind that job you're applying is not guaranteed. I will follow in. It's interactive section. If you have a question, ask. Am I clear? If you have a question, you can unmute, then ask, then mute back. Okay? It's interactive section. Ask me a question. Any question you want to ask. So this platform, you just have to buy points and start applying. You have to spend money if you're looking for something. You have to keep spending money, applying, then keep applying. Let's say you apply with this one now. You now got a job of $400. You have covered everything. Let's say you apply for this job now. I showed us one job like that. Let me go back. Let's say let's say we apply for this data analytics. So this data analytics will require you to have how many points? This data analysis will require you to have up to, let's see. So it will require up to this. They have a proposal of 27 proposal. So this is the number of connects required. Can you see? The number of connects required to submit for this proposal. So 27 connects. How many connects are we buying there for $30? 30, right? Is it 30 or 200? 200, right? 200 for $30. So out of 200, out of 200 points, you remove 27. You still have more points. So that 27 now will be used to apply for this job. So this one is legit. This platform is legit platform that you get job, but you have to keep applying. Upwork is good. This is not what I'm teaching today. I'm just explaining some things, like telling people that those people that already learn it, but they cannot apply for job. They are having issue applying for jobs. You can work for freelancing opportunities. You understand? You can work remotely. You can also create job yourself. You can create your own job. People come with issues in their data. You help them to solve it. You can also have people you work for. So can be that freelancing opportunity, or you work remotely. Okay. So this is what you will achieve after the training. Like I said, analyze real data sets, create professional dashboard, use Excel, SQL, Power BI, and Python, then build a strong portfolio, apply for data analysis job, then start freelance opportunities. So after the end of this training, this 3-month training, you should be able to stand strong and start applying for jobs. Are we good? Any question before I move on? Does anybody want to ask a question? Okay, so. Or you can ask. You want to ask a question? It's an interactive section, so ask your question. So one thing you need to have in mind, for those of us that are not in Nigeria, you're in US, Canada, Germany, depending on the country you're in Nigeria. Also, it's required that you also have to know the tools for the company you want to apply for. Some companies don't use SQL, like they don't use Workbench. If you're talking about SQL, they don't use Workbench. What they use is SSMS. Understand? Some companies don't use Workbench. Some use Postgre. So you have to know is that tools the company you're applying uses. You understand? Like for data spreadsheets, some companies don't use Excel. And we know that Excel and Google Spreadsheets, they are similar, but there's still some things that you need to know under Google Spreadsheets. So these are some things that limit some of beginners. Once they learn Excel finish, they'll feel that, oh, I'm okay, I have no Excel. No, look for the other one, the other alternative. Because there are a lot of tools. When you start applying, when you start going to the market, start applying, you see that there are a lot of tools you need to know. But these are general tools, like the one I just mentioned, popular tools everyone should know. They're popular tools. The Excel, everybody should know Excel. Everybody should know SQL. Everybody should know Power BI, Python. Understand? So there are tools, they are popular tools we all should know. But it doesn't stop there. That's what I want to let you know. It doesn't stop there because there are a lot of companies. There are companies that does not use Microsoft. For instance, Excel is Microsoft program. Python, Power BI is Microsoft program. So there are companies that don't use Microsoft applications. You understand? So what will you do? Will you go back and start searching for the one that use Microsoft application? No. You can upgrade yourself because once you build yourself in Power BI, Tableau, you should be able to use other tools yourself. You don't need someone to mentor you on those other tools. So you have to keep learning. You understand? Keep learning. Like I said, don't limit yourself in these 4 tools I just mentioned. Don't limit yourself in Excel, SQL, Power BI, Python. If you're good in those parts, keep on moving. Keep adding more tools. You understand? Keep learning more tools. So, let's move on to why data analysis. why data analysis? It's practical section, just trying to lay foundation before I move on. So why data analysis? So data analysis is one of the most in-demand skills globally. It's one of the most in-demand skills globally. Company uses data to make business decisions. Companies uses data to make what? Business decision. Company uses data to track performance. Company uses data to understand customers, increase profits. This is why skilled data analysts are highly what? They're highly paid. So skills data analysts are also highly sought after. So you don't need coding experience in this training. You don't need coding experience. You don't need to have any tech background. You don't need advanced mathematics. You don't need coding experience in this section. You don't need tech background. You don't need advanced mathematics. All you need is your laptop, your internet connection, and willingness to what? To learn. That's all you need. Your network, which is your internet connection, then your laptop, then willingness to what? To learn. That clear? So, before some of us join, I was asking if you're a beginner. I'd like to know, so I know the area I will channel my training on, know what to start with, know how many percentage of beginners we have. Then, please, if you're a beginner, you have not done anything regarding to this, please can you raise your hand so I know? Okay. I have 2 now. So okay, 3 persons. Okay, so yeah, no problem. So generalize it for everyone. So that means every one of us in this platform have basic background. We all have basic background. Am I right? Am I right? Good. So you have no basic background. I say raise your hand. You know raise your hand. Oh yeah, but you know raise your hand. Raise your hand. I didn't see you raising your hand before. Okay. Since you have no basic background, no problem. So, like I said, I'm not here to do webinar. I'm here to do practical section. It's practical. It's webinar. I have webinar video on my YouTube. You can go there and watch it. So this section is not explaining story. I have the story on my YouTube. Go and watch the video where I break down different parts of data analysis. The diagnostic analysis, exploratory analysis, prediction. So I break those things down. So that is not what I'm doing in this section. So if you feel like you want to know more on it, you can go to YouTube, my YouTube channel. Then you can watch that. The webinar was live. So you can watch that video to get a full details of what's. I can also drop the link to the WhatsApp platform. So you can get the details of data analysis. So if I start that now, we're not going to do anything in this class. Okay? So, for this live section, this live demo section, we're going to be starting with SQL. But before then, I would like to show you the top database management system. So as you're learning one, you should also try to work on the other. So let me show us the top 5 or top 10. database management tool. So I'm starting with SQL. Please take notes. I'm starting this training with SQL. So look down here. Can you see this? We have Oracle. How many of us have done Oracle here in this class? Nobody. If you have not done Oracle before, raise your hand. Or if you have done it, you can talk, can unmute and talk. Have you done Oracle before? Maybe you teach us Oracle. Who have done Oracle in this section? Nobody. Nobody have done Oracle. Okay, so we have Oracle, which is the first. We have MySQL. This is MySQL. So this widely used open source relational database management system. Then we have Microsoft SQL Server. So this is what I'm going to work on, this one. I'm going to put us through on this. So we have Microsoft SQL Server. Then we have Postgre. We have Postgre. Then we have IBM DB2. So these are top database management system, which is RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. So these are the top three. These are the top three. Then this is for NoSQL. You know, some people also learn NoSQL. This is NoSQL and Cloud Database. NoSQL and Cloud Database. So what I'm working on is this. So if you don't have it, you have to install it, because I'm recording this section, so you have to install it on your own. I'll show you the link on how to install it. Then you install it on your own. Then later on, you work on everything we are going to do in this live section. Exactly. See. So should I move on? How many of us have the SSMS application? How many of us have it? Okay, someone said, can I repeat? Okay, I mean, these are the top database management system, top three. The Oracle, MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, then Postgre. So what I'm going to train us in this class is Microsoft SQL Server. So I'm asking, how many of us have Microsoft SQL Server? SSMS, how many of us have it? The application. This application, how many of us have this application? How many of us have this application?
Mr. Dan, what application is this?
This is SSMS.
SSMS.
Yeah.
Is it with SQL too?
Yes.
I have to download SSMS.
Yeah, this is for Microsoft. This is from Microsoft. So
Oh.
I'll show you how you download it.
Oh, all right, no problem.
I'll also show you how you install it.
I did your back.
So this, I'll share the link. So this is it. You can see. SQL Server Management Studio. Can you see it? So you download it. Download this. So I'll share the link. For those on the how many of us are not on the WhatsApp platform and you're in this live section? You're in this live section, you're not on the WhatsApp platform. So I'll just start straight away. I've sent the link, so you can install that. Then if you have any issue installing it, you can drop a message on the platform. Someone will assist you. Okay? So let me just start, because I won't wait for you to install it. So you install it, later on, you go to the video again before the next class. Is that clear? So I'll drop the recording section. Then you make sure everything we practice today, make sure you're able to do it. Then work on your assignments. Also, after that, if you have issue with installing, drop your message, someone guide you. I think that is okay now. So let's go on. So I'm not using Workbench. You know, some of us are familiar with Workbench, so I'm not using Workbench. So what I'm using now is SQL Server Management Studio. So try to install it. If you cannot install it, you can also go to YouTube also. You can go to YouTube and install it. Go to YouTube and install it. So let's go on. Like I said, it's interactive section. So you get to ask question, ask me question, then I explain. Please, it's interactive section, like I said. Interactive section. Ask question. Whenever that is not clear, ask question on it. So let's start by explaining what SSMS mean. Then also server. You have to understand what server is. So before we move on to SQL, you have to understand SSMS first. So let me ask, what is SSMS? I just explained it now. Let's start with that. So you comment. This is for single line comments in this platform. This is single line comments. I want to make a note for us. So this is single line comments. Why you use this for multiple line? Multiple line comments. Single line. Then this multiple line. Please take notes anytime you want to comment. Single or multiple line. So if you see me using it, don't ask me why am I using it. It's called what? Comment. And what is comments? Some of us, we are programmers. What is comments? Nobody? This is narrative section. It's not webinar. It's like only one person will be talking. You can talk or mute your mic and explain. If I ask a question, to make it interactive, ask question, I ask you question. So I'm saying, what is comment? What do you understand by comments? Don't just use it, but you need to understand. You need to understand it. You can unmute. Don't be shy. I said, if you're a beginner, you can contribute. You understand? Nobody will intimidate you here. I'm the one running the class. So try, say something. Try to contribute. So in programming, a comment is a note written inside code. You can write down. I may not be typing. You can write, you can jot down. In programming or SQL, a comment is a note written inside code that the computer ignores. So the computer ignores it. You understand? So it is used to explain code, make code easier to understand. You can write, hold your pen and your book. I can't type everything. I'm just explaining. So comments is a note written inside code that the computer ignores. So the computer ignores what's comments. It is used to explain code, make it easier to understand. Make it easier to understand. So what I just showed us now is single line comments and multiple line comments. So this is multiple line. So if you want to write maybe full, like 10 lines of scripts, you can use, that. Questions, you can use that. Then if you want to do single, that is single line, hyphen, twice. So that is that on comments. So let's move back to what I was explaining before. So what is SSMS? So I told us that SSMS stands for what? Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. You can hold your pen and write. It stands for what? Microsoft SQL Management Studio. So I'll just type what I'm explaining. So you don't. So, like I said, the SSMS stands for what? Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. It is a free tool from Microsoft used to manage and work with SQL Server. All following. I'll ask question. So, it is a free tool from Microsoft. So this SSMS is from Microsoft. So it's a free tool used to manage and work with SQL Server database. So think of this SSMS as a control panel for database. You can write and run SQL queries like select, insert, update. You can create and manage database and table, view and edit data. You can manage users, security, and permission. You can back up, you can restore database, you can monitor performance in this SSMS. Are we there?
Yes.
So, who uses SSMS? One, database administrators. Database administrators. Web or software developers. Those that uses this software. Software developers and data analysts. I was teaching someone last week from US. So the person wanted to start, the person wants to learn SQL, generally SQL. SQL is just a language. So I was like, what tools do you want to learn with? What tools do you want to use for the SQL? He said, I want to learn SQL. I said, no. What software do you want to use for the SQL? Because we have a lot of software for. He said, I've not heard about that before. I said, okay. And I mentioned the tools that we have. So Jana said, Dan, please, let's check the email that why I'm learning this SQL is that I got a job offer and everything about the job is there. So, and that's okay. Just open the email. Let's check. So she now checked the email. She now saw that, oh, the tools, the software she needs to use is not even Workbench, and this one is Postgre. So the company uses Postgre for their SQL. You see what I was saying the first time, that these tools, they are similar but they are different. You understand? So there are some companies you will go to now. They don't use this, and I'm teaching you now. They don't use this MySQL, this SSMS application. What they use is Workbench. There are some companies you can apply for. What they use is Postgre. So as you're learning any tools, try to apply it to other tools. You may not know it like 100%. You understand? Just look at it. Look at the similarities. Look at what they have in common. Because there are some things I will do here. You cannot do it in Workbench. There are some things I will do in Workbench. It will not work here. There are some things I will do on Postgre. It will not work. So you have to know the similarities each time you're learning to. Just like someone learning Power BI and Tableau, and also Looker. You know, there are 3 different visualization tools. So as you're learning Power BI, try, if you know you're okay, I can do this kind of thing with Power BI. If I'm giving any project, I can do this with Power BI. You know your confidence in your Power BI. Why not try Tableau? Why not see what you can do with Tableau? Okay, you're good with Tableau. I can do 1 or 2 things in Tableau. Try Looker. Try how Looker work. Try to understand the environment. Try to understand the dashboard of each of them. Understand? Because data analysis, a lot of companies use different tools. That's what you should know. A lot of companies use different tools. So especially those of us that want to be applying for jobs outside. So you don't just have to leverage yourself on just one tool. So I know Excel. You know Excel. That Excel, you know. If I give you a work, I say you should do it with Google Sheets. Can you do it? Can you do the same thing, that skills you have in Excel? If I give you project, I say, I'm not using Excel. Our company does not use Excel. What we use is Google Sheets. Are you going to do it in Excel finish and now upload it on Google Sheets? You understand? So those are the things you need to know. Learn how programs work. Then you can try to interpret it with other software. Understand? So that is that. So let's move on. I say, who uses this SSMS? Database administrator, software programmers or developers, and data analysts. Some schools uses it. Some universities, the one they use mostly is this SSMS, because I've trained a lot of students. I know that this is what they use in their school. Those running their BSc, masters. Some of them in Canada, US, they use this software, which are familiar. I've trained a lot of people on this particular software. So some other uses Postgre. So like I said, you cannot learn everything like you want to be. You can also pick a course yourself, learn it based on the experience you've gathered already. You understand? So that is it. Any question? Any question? Nobody want to ask? So I want to ask question now. Who want to answer me?
Sorry, Mr. Daniel. I asked a question on the comment section, but
Oh, I didn't see that. Sorry.
sorry, on the message icon or whatever. So I asked. My question was, is SSMS same with SPSS?
No.
Okay. What's the difference?
SPSS is mostly for statistics.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, IBM, SPSS is mostly for statistics. statistical analysis. You understand? Why this one we are doing? We use it to manage database. So that's it. Any other person? So there are two things I need to make us clear of now. We have no issue with the explanation on SSMS, right? Okay, so let's discuss on two things now. Now we understand what SSMS is. Then we also have server. So what is server? What is different between the two? Server and what is server generally? Okay. I will teach, then maybe the next class. For some of us say we are beginners. Maybe the next class I will ask questions. So it don't look like, Stada, you never teach us now. They give us questions. So I'll be explaining it. Then the next class, I can now know if we can cope. If you cannot cope, if I look at it that if it's 10% or out of 100, I've closed the section, no more class again. But it's 70% that are contributing, class will keep going. But if it's 10%, you say 10% is too small out of 100. So we just close it. We just close the section. So try to memorize what you did, work on what you did before the next class. Because I like asking questions. Why am I asking the question? To know that I'm not wasting my time teaching. You understand? In as much as I love teaching, I also love people learning it. Like somebody, you teach somebody today, and the things think, you can ask the person question tomorrow, and the person will reflect on that question and give you the answer. I love that. But a situation whereby you ask a question, nobody's giving you a response. If we are at 100 and 10 people are going, are the only one getting it, that class is closed. I can just recommend that you just speak to me one-on-one. I can organize training for you. But 70%, we are good to go. We'll make the training more fun. So let's move on. So this is server, this is SSMS. So you need to know the difference between the two. Same thing in Workbench. Those that use Workbench, you have server, you have Workbench. You need to know the difference. That's why some of us, if you have issue with our software, you don't know what to touch. You'll be looking for somebody that will help you to do that. What if you are in an environment that you don't have anybody? You have to travel for far distance to come and fix it. So let's start. What is server? Please hold your pen and your book, you jot down. Like I said, I can't be typing. So what is server? A server stores and manages database. A server stores and manages the database. I'm giving you the difference between the two. A server stores and manages the database, while the SSMS is the software used to access and manage the server. I'll ask you the differences. So, why SSMS is the software used to access and manage the server. That means if the server is not in existence, we can't use the SSMS. Do you get? So if the server is not working, no SSMS. It's just like a car without engine. You understand? So the server is the engine. Why the car? That car you see with color, they paint it, is the SSMS. I'll break it down to the extent where you understand it. So take note of that. So server is like the engine of the car. So without engine, the car cannot move. True or false? So take note of that. Like I said, it's like the engine, then the SSMS is the car. So the server works in the background. You don't see it. It works in the background. Why the SSMS is this one I open now. This one I open, this interface. So you can see this interface. You can see it clearly now. So this is the SMS. This is what I just opened. You can see it. But the server is the one making it to function. Without the server, you cannot see what we are doing. So the SSMS is what we open and see. Then the SSMS stores table, data, users, etc. Why? I mean, that is the server. Why the SSMS used to write queries? We use this SSMS to write queries and view data. So what we're going to be doing with this SMS is to write query, is to what? To view data. So that's what we're doing inside this SSMS. Should I move on? So you've gotten the differences, right? We've gotten the differences. We've gotten the differences. Who can tell me, based on what I explained, what is different between the two? I've explained now, so somebody should tell me. Somebody should be able to tell me the difference between the server and the SSMS. Somebody should tell me the difference. Somebody should build the class. Just say something.
You said that the server stores and manages database. SMS is the software that we use to access and manage the database. So
Thank you.
the functionality of SMS is dependent on the server being in existence.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. That's what I want. Thank you for that short and brief explanation. So why am I asking? Why did I want us to interact? Like, oh, I'm doing a tech training on data analysis, and someone asks you a question, you're not able to answer. And say, who is your instructor? Say, I'm doing it with Tech Trinity. No. You should be able to answer, because my class is practical. For those of us that know me, my class is practical. I don't do it much of story. So you should be able to defend me. So let's go on. Now we know the difference between the SSMS, then we know the difference between bot and server. So I dropped the link for those that just joined. The link of the software. Then so what we'll be doing today in this section is understanding database, introduction to database, then type of database, importance of database, and so on. So those are the things we're going to be doing now. So I will make use of, how many of us are on the WhatsApp platform? Please raise your hand if you're on the WhatsApp platform. Let me know whether to make WhatsApp or the text. So I should make use of the WhatsApp or which one? Only three people on the WhatsApp. So others are not on WhatsApp. I want to be dropping material there. So that's what I'm asking. If you're not there, so you can be added. So don't tell me that, oh, I did not see what you're displaying, or I did not see what you type. Okay. Please, if you're not in the WhatsApp, drop your number on the chat box. Drop your number there so you can be added. you know, WhatsApp, once you drop something, the person will not see it again. Somebody that just joined will not see it. It's not like Telegram. That's what I'm asking before I start dropping, so you'll be added to the platform. But if all of us are there, no problem, so I can continue. So firstly, I'll drop what I'll use. So what is, I want to ask a question. What is RDBMS? What is RDBMS?
Relational database management system.
Relational database management system.
Good. Relational database management system. Sorry. So, like I said, RDBMS means what? Relational Database Management System. So the RDBMS is a program that's used to maintain relational database. So who can give us some of the relational database system you know? Tell me 3 that you know. 3. Three relational database you know. If you can tell me 4, fine. You say RDBMS means what? Relational Database Management System, right? So I say you should tell me 3.
Postgre,
Postgre,
MySQL,
MySQL.
NoSQL.
You say what?
NoSQL, Abi?
No SQL is non-relational.
Okay, so Postgre, MySQL. I can't think of a third one.
Hey, try. Let's clap for her. Let's try.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the third one is Oracle.
Oracle, good. And also, how many of us are familiar with Access, Microsoft Access? Access is also relational database, but some of us don't use it because it's for small applications. So Access, Microsoft Access, is the basics. If you can use Access, all this SQL story should be able to do it with ease. So, but some people just jump into tech based on what is in the market, right? So when they say cybersecurity is in the market, you forgot the foundation. You jump into cybersecurity. When they say AI is in the market, you jump into AI, you forgot the foundation. I know jumping into the trend is good, but also it's damaging the foundation. So you have to know the foundation of each of these. So like I said, Access, if you're good in Access, like I did Access, I did Office Suite complete package, like Outlook, then I did Excel, I did PowerPoint, I did Access. I did everything on basics. You understand? So when I was picking other programs, everything I was learning, when I was picking it, it's very easy for me because I already prepare myself, I already prepare my ground that, you have to know these basics very well. So once you know basic applications, any other application that is coming up or you're trying to use, it's very easy for you to use it because some of the things you'll be coming across is something you're already familiar with. You understand? Some things you're already familiar with. So Access is also part of relational database management system. So the data stores in the database objects in the data stores in RDBMS is called table. The data will store in the RDBMS. So it's called table. So a table is a collection of related entries, consists of rows and columns. right? Table consists of rows and columns. Who can tell us other word we can use apart from columns? If I don't want to call it a column, what other way can I refer to column? And rows, what other ways can I refer to rows? If I don't want to refer it as columns and rows, what other words can I use to reference them? So there are three things you can use. You can also say vertical and horizontal, right? Column is vertical, while rows is horizontal. Also, fields are also called column fields, while rows as records. So take notes. So anytime I ask you, if I mention fields, know that I'm referring to column. If I mention records, know that I'm referring to what? To rows. Then if I say vertical, know that I'm referring to column. If I say horizontal, I'm referring to what? To rows. So take note of those basics. Trying to build foundation for you to understand some basic things before you jump into creating table, database. When you get to that point, you already start your training. So there are some things you need to understand. That's what I'm trying to explain. So when you talk about a column, so a column is a vertical entity in a table and holds a set of values of a particular type. In a table, if I delete a particular column, do you know it affects everybody in that table? If I delete a particular column in a table, it affects everybody. But if I delete a row or a record, what am I doing? I'm deleting individually, right? I'm deleting individual records. So take notes of that also. So next, we'll move to SQL. Any question from the intro? Any question? Any question? Nobody wants to ask a question. So that means we are cool. We are cool with what we are learning. For the application, if you know you don't have the setup and you're having issue installing, please, you can reach out to assist you. So the class, what is database? I'm asking class, what is database? What is database? Anybody can bail us out. What is database? Someone should try. What is a database?
A database is like contains information in form of tables, more or less fields and columns,
Rows and columns.
and contains the information or records.
Okay. Who else want to contribute? She tried. Who else want to contribute? Simple terms, simple definition. Who else want to contribute?
Okay, good evening. It's a system for storing and managing data.
Managing data, storing and managing data. Okay. Both of you are correct. So, but before I said both of you are correct, you're correct actually, but somebody should tell me the difference between a database and a table. Different between both. You should be able to differentiate table and database. So somebody should tell me.
A database is like where information is stored in an organized way on a computer system, while a table is like a way to organize data in a database using fields and records.
Okay, fields and records. Field. So you get the differences now, right? If you don't understand the difference, let me see your hand. Raise your hand. If you don't get what you just said now, database, more or less like a collection of organized data stored together in one system. So it's just like a big container or folder. You know your folder now. When you open your documents, create folder. That is just like a database. Understand? So that is just like a database. Then table, like you explained, just a structured set of data inside a database, arranged in rows and columns. So why am I saying that? If I say create a database, it's different from saying create a table. So creating a database differently, creating a table, we have different syntax for creating table. Is that clear? Hope we are learning something.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Still on introduction. Now you've understood database, table, server. So you not leave this section and say, I didn't learn anything. Understand? Build a solid foundation for yourself. So let's move on. Type of so let's go on. Types of database. Types of database. Some of us will not say this training like it's a very solid training, so don't miss class. So the next class will be on Wednesday, same time. Wednesday, same time. Same time, 8 p.m. Once it's 8 p.m., if you miss that 8 p.m., just know that you watch the video because what you're going to be doing, you'll be lost in the class. So join 8 p.m. I'm not waiting for anybody. Once it's one person join like this, I'll start my training. So types of database. We have relational database. So relational database stores data in table. You understand? That is in rows and columns. Uses SQL to manage the data. So example, like I told us, Microsoft SQL Server, Workbench, Postgre, and so on. Next, we have NoSQL. So NoSQL stores data in flexible format. Am I too fast? If you're writing and I'm too fast, let me know so I can go back and explain again. The first one I explained, I'm explaining types of database. So we have different database. Explaining relational database. So that relational database stores data in table, which is row and column. Uses SQL to manage data. Uses SQL to manage data. Example, the application we are using in this section, Microsoft SQL Server. Then we have NoSQL database. So the NoSQL database stores data in flexible formats like documents, key value, etc. So the NoSQL used for big data and web application. So used for big data and web application. Example, MongoDB. So you have MongoDB. So those are into web development, software development. We know what I'm saying. So they use MongoDB for their database because it handles what big data and it's on web applications. So that is that for NoSQL. So those into web development, what they use is software development. What they use mostly is what is MongoDB. They can also use relational database. But what I say, use for big data and web application. So next we have cloud-based. So this one is hosted on the internet, that is the cloud server. So it can be accessible anywhere. Example is Google Cloud Database. So everything I'm explaining, you can also make research on them. So we have Google Cloud Database. So you can go and learn Google Cloud Database. It's for your own good. If you want to go and learn it, you will stand out. There are companies that employs Google Cloud Database administrators. So the companies that hire those set of people. Then we have network database. So the network database is more complex relationship between data. That is many to many. That is many to many. So that is the fourth one, network database. So there are a lot of them. So I'll stop there on that types of database. So importance of database. So databases are important because they help store large amounts of data safely. Also make data easy to search and retrieve quickly. It reduces data duplication. Also improve decision making through organized data. So take note of that. So enough of the introduction. I think you guys are good. You need more of intro. You guys are good on this intro. So let's dive into the software application. I'll just do a few things, then we are done for today. So if I'm to teach an individual that is into a particular field, what I do is to ask the person what he or she does. The way I teach personal training, I'll ask you what you do, the job you do, so I can relate what I'm teaching you to that particular field. But in this classroom, we have a lot of people in this section, so I can pick any data and work with. You understand? But for me, if I'm to teach individually, I ask you, maybe you're into any field. You can be a banker that's learning. You can be an HR person. So I don't have to be teaching you randomly. I just focus on your field, teach you based on your field. If you're into supply chain analyst, then I'll teach you based on that. So whatever thing you do, I'll teach you based on that. But as we all are here now, we have different background. Some people can be HR analysts, some does not have any background yet, some are financial analysts, and so on. You understand? And so on. So I'm going to teach us on how to build a database using this SSMS. Can we all see my screen? Can everyone see my screen? Okay. This is the application. This is the software application. If you look at the left-hand side, you can see that I've worked on some database. And also have the workbench. If you look at it, I have the workbench also. This is my workbench. So anytime I want to use it, I can also use it. This workbench here. So I use both. I teach both workbench, Postgre, and also this. So for the one we are using currently is this. This is what we are using for our lecture. So by the side, these are some of the database created. You can see. Then inside database, we have tables. We have tables inside of the database. You can see that we have tables here. So you can see the tables we have here. So we have security and so on. So we have server objects. So we'll be creating a database for this class. So let's use let's create a company database. I think that would be good, because some of us are different background. So if you have the application, you can work with me. So let me increase so you see what I'm doing. Phrase company database. So we use the create statement, creates database. So what should you name it? Let's say company. Company DB. So you execute. This is how you execute here. This is how you execute. You highlight it. Then you have execute here. You can use Alt X. Some system uses F5 on the keyboard. So you can use Alt X to execute, or use what? Or use F5. So I'm going to click. So you can see the command successfully. You can see it. Command completed successfully. So I've completed this query. If you have this database before, if you have it, it will not work. So let's activate it. So let's make it active. So use company DB. So the semicolon at the back means end of statement. The semicolon means what? End of statement. So you can see this is how to activate it. So let's see if our database is there. Let's see. Let's check. So you can see that after refreshing, there is it. This is the database, company DB. So that is how to create a database using SSMS. That is how to create a database using what? SSMS. Please take note of it. So next, inside of this database, we need tables inside. So how do we create table? Like I told us, table is different from database. So in a database, you can have multiple tables inside of the database. Am I clear? You can have multiple tables inside a database. You can have multiple tables inside the database. Before you create a database, before you create a table, each column in that table, it's assigned different types of data. So you need to understand data types. You need to understand data types. So in SQL, we have 3 major data types in SQL. Who can tell us? There are 3 major data types in SQL. 3 major data types. You can give me 1 or 2. Just try. Inside your table, everything you have inside the table is made up of 3 types of data. We have the numeric, we have strings, we have date and time. Is that clear? 3 major types: string, numeric, date, and time. So I mentioned numeric, we have numeric, we have strings, we have date and time. So these are the 3 major data types: numeric, strings, date, and time. Numeric, strings, date, and time. So for you to create a table in SQL, you must understand data type. You must understand data type. So under numeric, we have integer, which is int. We have int. Int is equivalent to integer. Is that clear? You must understand those types. We have floats under numeric. You have decimal. You have double under it. So which I'm going to send on the platform now. So I'll send it on the WhatsApp. So if you are not in the WhatsApp, please, like I said, I'm not saying it again. So you can drop your number so you'll be added to the platform. So I'll drop the types. So you can look at it later on. So I've dropped it. You have string, char. On that string, you have char, you have varchar, you have text, tiny text, you have medium text, and you have long text. So varchar is the most commonly used for names, email, etc. Then under numeric, we have tiny text, tiny ints, small ints, medium ints, int/integer, which I told you, which is most commonly used. Then we have big ints for large integers. Then we have decimal and float type. We have decimal, we have floats, we have double. Then for date and time, you can see what we have under date and time. Should I go ahead? Then
Yes.
the next thing you need to understand again is constraints, which is very important. So constraints helps to limit what goes inside your table. So we have different types of constraints. We have not null, we have unique, we have primary key, we have foreign key, we have check, and so on. So I'll drop that also, platform. So that is that. I've dropped that. So for you to create a table, you have to know the syntax of creating a table. Syntax is just like saying formula. Exactly. So whenever I hear somebody saying syntax, what the person is trying to say is still formula. The person is trying to say is formula. So whenever the person says syntax, it's formula. So this is syntax for creating what? For creating a table. This is the order. If you want to build a standard table, this is the order you need to follow. The column name. So let me change this column 1 to column name. Column name. Column name 1. So depending on the name you want to use. Column name 2. The name you want to use. Column name 3. So the column names you want to use. So if you want to create a table, you must follow this guide. You must follow this guide. So we'll use this guide to create a standard table. So we're going to create a table called employees first. We're going to create a table called what? Employees. Then we'll create department table and so on. Okay, let's start with the department table. See, that one has a little column. So let's start with the department table. Create table, departments. So in the department table, what can we find in the department table? We can have the department ID. We can have department ID. So what type of data should we use for this? We can use int. Then primary key. Primary key means what? Who can tell us? Primary key means what?
Like a unique identifier.
A unique identifier. So we're using the primary key so that the department, let's say we have the same department, so that we can have the same ID. So my ID will be different from your own ID and so on. So without the primary key, we can have duplicate ID. We can have same ID. So with this primary key now, everybody is going to have a unique ID. So next we have department name. So for the department name, we have type of constraint to use. It gives us a list of constraints. You can use test, you can use char, you can use voucher, tiny test, medium test, and so on. So I'm going to use I'm going to be using voucher for this, voucher 50. Then not null. Not null means I don't want it to return null values. You understand? I don't want it to return null. That is the meaning of that. Then close. So let's execute. So successfully what? Created. So let's look at it. We can just use our select from departments to check if the table has been executed. So let's see. So you can see department ID and department name. Very fast. Any question before I move on to the next? Are we confused? Is anyone confused? Are we enjoying the section? Or we're not
Yeah.
we should close it. We should close the section. We should close the section.
Sorry, Mr. Daniel, can we have
Yeah.
recorded
Yes,
kind of
sure. I'll drop it. I'll drop the
trying to download my okay, thank you.
I'll drop it. That's why I said today class, you have to work ahead so that by Wednesday you should be able to be on the same page with me. So, and if you're having issue installing it, so do that tomorrow. Right, tomorrow, so I will be free then. You can do that tomorrow. Then you prepare yourself for Wednesday's section. So let's move on. Department table created. So the next table we are going to create now is the employee table. Create employees table. So let's do this. So in the employees table, what can we have on the employee table? Create table, employees. So the employee table can have the employee ID. So the employee ID make use of integer, which is int, then primary key. It should be uniquely identified. Employee should be uniquely identified. I can't have the same. We can't have a multiple ID as employee. So next we have full. We have a full name. Full name. So we'll make use of voucher for the full name. Is anybody name longer than 100? I'm not sure. So not no. So if your name is longer than 100, well, I don't boss with that. So here I will meet key here. Primary key, not primary, primary key. Then we have gender. So gender can still use voucher. So voucher is commonly used. So I'm going to use voucher. So you can use chat, you can use text also. So age, int. Then salary. So salary, I'm using decimal. Somebody should interpret this decimal for me in this section. Somebody should interpret this for me. What does it mean? Decimal 10,2. Some of us say we are not beginner now, so you can contribute. So what is 10,2? Ints. Then we have higher dates. Somebody talking? Date type. So for the higher date, we use date type. Then we have to reference this employee to the department table. So what will be the foreign key now? What do they have in common? What do they have in common? For those that are following me, what do they have in common? So they have departments ID in common. So I'm going to reference it to let me reference it to department table. department table, open brackets, department ID. So we're closing two brackets. So who can tell me the error they're showing? I also asked 10,2. Nobody's answering me. Nobody's.
Okay, 10,2 is 10 represent the amount of digits allowed, and 2 represent the decimal place.
Two,
That's 2 decimal place.
two represents.
It should be 2 decimal place. Yeah.
Okay. Say 2 represents the decimal place. Who else? Is that correct? So that means we're going to have size of, even though that means 8 normal value plus 2 decimal, right? That is 10, and that is the size.
Yeah. No, I mean the value then dot
One,
in
two.
2 decimal. It should be
Decimal point.
Something like this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is what I mean by that. Size, the size, both the decimal, the size should be 10, then 2 decimal.
no.
Do you get? I'm explaining this to you, this one.
Yes.
This
Yes.
10,
Yes.
this
Yes.
10
Yes.
is size. So everything here should be 10, including the decimal. So size, but we need to have what? 2 decimal, which is this. So please take note of that size. Then I was asking why are we having error in that part? Look at it very well.
I think it's the spelling of the foreign. I don't know.
Spelling of the foreign. Okay. So is there any error again? No. So this reference is ID. This reference is ID. What they have in common is department ID, which is this. So look at it. Department ID is here. So reference it to department ID under the employee table. You can see here, we also have department ID here. So command completed successfully. Anytime you see error in your command, know that there is something you're omitting. So let's confirm this. Select start from employees. So let's confirm. So you can see the table has been created. Employee tables have been created. So I'll have to send this one to your platform. So
Mr. Daniel, is there no shortcut for running the commands?
yes, I've told you this shortcut. There is it here. You can use Alt X. You must alight first. You must alight it. Then Alt X. Some system uses F5. You can see, I click F5. I did not go there now. See, if I highlight it, I just click F5. Some system uses F5. Then, if you don't want to make use of this execute, use Alt X. Alt X. That is the shortcut. I will go. So what you're doing for me, your assignments, you're creating, you can write, okay, I'll just drop it down. You're creating customer table. I created employee table and department table. So you're going to create customer table, product table, and sales table. Customer table, product table, and what? And sales table. So, any question before we call it a day? This is just intro. So for the customer table, are we all there? Let me tell you what you need to have on the customer table. Are we there?
Yeah.
So this is your assignments. Customers. So for the customer table, the column, customer ID. Customer ID, then customer name. You're creating it yourself. Customer name. Then we have phone, of course. We have email. We have email. So this is for customer table. This is for customer table. This is what I want in customer table. Then, second one, you're creating product table. Products. So what did I want inside the product table? We need product ID, product underscore ID, then product name, we have price, then we have stock. So that's what I need, the product table. Then the last one, we have the sales table. Sales. So what do I want in the sales? Sales ID, sales underscore ID, then customer ID. So here you have to reference. Please take note. You have to reference here. Customer ID, product ID, then quantity, then sale dates, that's all. So please make sure you reference. You are going to reference the customer ID. Also, we are going to reference the product ID. Take notes. If you don't do that, you're going to have issue when we start working with the data sets. When we start using it, you're going to have a little challenge. Make sure you reference the customer table to customer, then reference the products to products. You have the products table, so reference it. Please make sure you do that, and let me know when you're done. I'll drop where you submit it. I'll drop an email to submit your assignment. So that's what I used to know people that are serious in this training. So if you're not doing assignments, don't join my class. Don't join the next class. That I say, make sure you do your software. Install the software. Then do your assignments. This is just a basic assignment that will not take you 5 minutes to do. So do this, then it will be your gateway to the next class. Yes, so please try.
Mr. Gary.
Yeah, you can ask a question.
Please, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
You said we should reference the table. First, it says still customer ID and product ID. Is there
Yeah.
supposed to be like a comma in between, like correct foreign key, then the reference, then comma, then are we going to put again foreign key, then product ID, or I don't
Yeah.
know.
The way you see the way I did that first one. That one I reference department and employee. This one.
Yes.
That means you're going to have two foreign key now.
Okay.
One foreign key for customer ID and the
Mm,
other foreign key for product ID.
okay. Okay.
So see you guys on Wednesday. Okay, so 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is the time. So be punctual and do your assignment. And if you have an issue installing the software, you can drop your message. So we'll assign someone to assist you. Thank you. See you on Wednesday. Good night. I'll drop the video. Drop it.
Thank you, Mr. Good
Okay.
night.
Any question? Anybody have any question? Any question from anyone? Any question?